Hi, hello, and welcome. In today's video will be about some of the new reveals this week from Riftbound. If you do not know, the Riftbound and a couple of the bigger content creators throughout the trading card scene has been revealing cards slowly over time to us. For instance, like the champion cards like Ari, Darius, Leona, those cards were revealed to us on the first day of the reveal, so it was a very big deal because we had not seen a lot of the runes, a lot of the alternate arts, and just a lot of cards we were missing because we were only playing with trial decks, which got boring. I mean, you can only have so much fun with trial decks. And now since we're getting into deck building, the game has really opened up in a way. It has just became a lot more fun. I think if you go to any of the Riftbound servers, for instance, like the TTS server, like the community server, there's always people playing now. Tons of people are searching for games. People are like deck building. If you really want to, you can go over to Piltover Archive. I'll put it in the description below. And Piltover Archive is a great place to build a deck, to see numbers on the deck, to see how much of one color you have, to know if you need any of these sigils or the seals. And just overall a great helpful tool, and you can actually import those Piltover Archive decks into the TTS mod. And like I said, later this week, probably before the end of the week, I will be doing a step-by-step how to play guide. That will be a little bit longer video, but I will put that out, and that will be using the TTS mod if you guys want me to. I can always make a video going over how to actually get the TTS mod, or just how to set it up, how it works, anything like that. Just let me know in the comments, of course. But today we're talking about the newly released cards that happened today, and on the screen you'll be seeing it, and I have it on my screen right here if you see me looking away. And the first set of cards, which is the newest set of cards, technically, or the newest set of card, or the newest set card, is Yasuo. So we already know green Yasuo. I forget what his official name is on the green Yasuo, but he's a 6 mana, 2 power, for 6 attack, and his ability is that whenever you put him to a battlefield, he does his might to a unit there at the battlefield. So a very good card for clearing. He can basically take over a battlefield by himself a lot of times, but he costs a lot, right? 6 mana plus 2 power is a lot. But in this new card, as I have on the screen, there's 2 versions of it. There's the full art, which is like very like Legends of Runeterra looking. I'm pretty sure this is Legends of Runeterra. And then there is the I forget the name of this, High Noon, I believe, something like that, from the League. I used to play League, so I know some of these skin lines, but I'm pretty sure this is High Noon or something like that. I mean, these skins look great. I mean, these cards look beautiful. I mean, both of them. I do like the cards, like the champion units that have the skins from the game. I think it's really fun. But I just gotta say, this Legends of Runeterra one with his hair like poking out of the card, I mean, it looks great. I mean, clearly this is probably going to be the more rare version of this card, if I had to assume. I think the rarity is on below it might be different. So maybe it looks like the full art from Legends of Runeterra Yasuo, it looks to be maybe easier to find. I think the symbol down there means it's a lower rarity, I believe. But anyway, let's just look at this card real quick. It costs 5 runes, 1 power, for 4 might. However, this card has ganking, so it can move battlefield to battlefield, which is always a good card, especially in purple, like with Misfortune decks. It allows you to move a lot. And then with Yasuo's, even with Yasuo's like actual legend ability, him being able to move units, I mean, this is gonna be really good. But the ability on this card, which is the 3rd time I move in a turn, you score 1 point. Which is kind of crazy. You might be thinking like, oh, the 3rd time I move kind of seems hard, but it really isn't. Like, if you think about, if you hold a point, that's a point already. But if you hold a point, you move it back down after your turn starts. You move it back down to your base. You might be able to do some wackiness with some of the other cards in the set, especially you also use, including of course his legend. I think his legend is gonna be very useful. What I imagine this deck really wants to do now, or at least this variation of the card, is that you want to hold a battlefield, wait a turn, hold the battlefield down. I think this is pretty reliable to hold a battlefield with all the counter spells that this Yasuo deck has. Green and purple is just really good for countering. I think they will have no problem keeping this unit on a battlefield. but you probably want to take him from a battlefield, and then when you get your turn back, move him instantly to the second battlefield, so get a hold point, then a conquer point, and then you would probably use Yasuo's legend, tap the 2 runes, tap or exhaust 2 runes, exhaust Yasuo's legend, and then move this Yasuo card back to base, and then you'll score another point. So that could be up technically really 3 points in one turn if you can play it right, and a card like this can be really explosive. And I'm already assuming that this card is going to win games quickly, to a point where people are going to be very surprised by how fast this card can win a game, especially if you can compare it with a new card I'll be showing in just a minute, a new battlefield. I think this card will be able to win a game very fast if you allow them to stack up the right resources to get these cards in the field. Now mind you, thankfully with Riftbound, you can't just get any card you want from your deck. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! There's no search cards at all. There's some like vision cards, but there's no search cards like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like a lot of the other trading card games such as Pokemon, which is a very good thing, because if you could search for this card and like reliably get it, it might be an issue. It might be an issue. It's like I said, it's very rare to be able to get those 3 points and move them 3 times. So if you do, I mean, that's 3 points. That's almost half the points of the game. And if you have the new battlefield that we'll be showing off in just a minute, that is 4 points. Like you'll have 4 points immediately just from this combo and that alone. I mean, I think this card is gonna be insane. I'm going to play test it the moment it gets onto TTS. I'm gonna play some of it, see how good it is. Me and my friends will probably try it out. I've been a Yasuo fan. I like green. I think in this game green is really fun. It's very defensive and controlling, which I like. I think it's just a fun deck, fun play style. And even if you might not swing large, or you might not swing like just too much, the moments you do swing matters a lot. I like that kind of archetype in this game. Now moving on to 3 new cards, and mind you, I want to try to get better resolution pictures of these cards for the video that you're seeing, but on my screen you can barely read these cards. And mind you, this is from the official Play Riftbound Twitter account, or X account, whatever you want to call it. And the quality on this image is terrible. Like, I'm sorry, but like, come on, Riftbound, like this is probably like 720p. It is blurry as fuck, but I will try my best to read off these cards. So on this, there's 2 battlefields, one of the battlefields I was just talking about, and then Draven. Now mind you, the one on the right, Obelisk of Power, we already know Obelisk of Power, but then mind you, this is like the new art version of it technically. Like, it has like the double like text, which is on the top, on the the bottom of it, which I really like, because I found whenever I was first playing with the original proxies of the game, that your opponent kept having to turn around in case like they just forgot what the battlefield did, and so having the text on both sides of the card is just nice. So it's just one of those art decisions that you need the text on both sides. So I'm glad they're keeping that up with every new battlefield art that we see. Let's just go on to real quick to the other battlefield that was shown off today, which is at the start of each player's first beginning phase, that player gains 1 point. And this is what I was talking about with the Yasuo card. Both players get a point at their first beginning phase. So that means the moment you basically launch the game, you both get 1 point each. And if you have a Yasuo deck and you run this, and you can pull off the 3 move with this card, you have half your points right there instantly with just doing that combo, and then with this battlefield. Now mind you, of course, you can only play 1 battlefield part, right? In a best of 3. But this is going to be really crazy for aggro decks. I feel like decks like Darius, even sometimes Jinx, these hardcore aggro decks that just want to spam the field as much as possible and then get the battlefield points. I think this card's going to go insane. And alongside the Arena's Greatest, which mind you, I'm pretty sure in the lore, Draven is like the Arena's like boss, like the big boss of the arena. And so he comes out, of course, with the Arena's Greatest battlefield. So Draven is an interesting card, because on the surface, it looks like he's trash, right? It's 5 runes, 1 power for 3 might, which is a bad trade-off. But this ability, I think, is going to be really strong. I think in Darius especially, this deck is going to be a lot to handle, especially right now on TTS, because we don't have a lot of the other cards for the other decks so far. But with Darius has a lot of his pieces already, or a lot of the cards that have been shown off already. It works well for him. But Draven is a 5 rune, 1 power for 3 might, and his ability is that my might is increased by your points. And if you're playing Darius or any red deck, you know how fast they get to the battlefields. And you only need 2 points to really get this guy to be a 5/5, which is already good, like based on the trade-off, right? 5 runes for 5 mic unit. But if you think about, you already have the Arena of the Greatest, right? You already have the Arena's Greatest if you want to run it. That's already 1 point, so he's automatically a 5 rune 1 power for a unit. But in mid game, like against a Darius player will get 4 points or 5 points pretty fast. Sometimes they do slow down depending on what happens and how fast you can counter them or take back control of the battlefield. But they'll get to those 4 or 5 points and you don't lose points in this game. So this card will forever, as all they're drawing into this card, it might be a 5 rune 1 power 7 mic card for the whole game, which is a big plus. Like I mean 5 runes, even if you, I mean most Darius players I believe run the Seal of Fury or Rage, I believe it's called Seal of Rage. So I think that 1 power is not even important. I'm gonna be honest. I think the 5 rune for 3 or for like 7 power, 5 power, 6 power, 8 power is just a looter. Like it's just super good. And of course, Draven and Darius are brothers, I believe. I might be wrong about that. It's been a long time. I haven't played League in a long time, but I think they're brothers or something. If that's the case, them being a part of the same deck, it kind of just feels like it was like meant to be. But I do love this battlefield. I think this could be a really good card for all aggro decks. Not so much for defensive late game decks, but for sure aggro decks, especially red. I would even see certain versions of yellow running this, especially if you have like the hardcore like Victor engine plus yellow Darius. I think that could really abuse this battlefield. And then moving on to the last cards, now mind you, we have 6 cards here, 1 battlefield and 5 cards. And these were from yesterday, I believe, or the other day. But of course, I just made my channel. I just posted my first video, a quick start guide for Riftbound. And mind you, if you don't know how to play Riftbound, if you're wondering how to play Riftbound, please go check out that video. I do a quick start guide for you guys. It's 15 minutes long, showing you the basics, and then you can learn the other the other parts yourself. Go look it up. But I am making a step-by-step guide coming later this week. That's gonna be a longer video that will teach you everything about combat, spell timing, all of that. But first off, let's look at these other cards. So we have a spell here for purple. It's a 3 rune for 1 power. It's called Invert Timelines. I believe this is an echo card. It says each player discards their hand, then draws 4. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this besides this is great for purple. Purple, especially Jinx. Jinx loves discarding, of course. That's her whole like Legends theme. I think this card will actually be crazy good in Yasuo as well. And you might be wondering why, but the thing is, it says each player discards their hand. And mind you, there is no hand size in Riftbound. A lot of these decks either draw a lot of cards, especially if you play any Victor Blue. They love drawing off that one unit. I forget what it's called. I'll put it up on screen right here. But this unit, literally every time one of your units die, she draw a card, right? So this can screw over decks that draw a lot. This can screw over your player if you know they have like a, if you're playing against a green deck, maybe you're worried about what's in their hand, maybe a Fury deck. This can really screw over a lot of decks while being a big bonus for Jinx, and just like decks that like to draw cards and spam a lot. I think this is gonna be, I don't think right now this might be a 2 of in a deck, but I could see later versions of Red Jinx really liking this card for the draw power and running 3 of them because it's really cheap. I mean, 3 runes, 1 power is not that expensive for what type of ability this is, especially like I said, you're against these heavy draw decks in Legends. Like this is gonna be crazy for like, especially in mid game. Like imagine mid game, your opponent's already setting up a board, setting up battlefields, holding points. They have like, let's say 5-6 cards in their hand, they have a lot to respond with, and you just completely ruin out. Now mind you, they still draw 4 cards, but it just helps the Legends and the purple color as a whole. I could totally see this working out very well for these decks. And plus draw power is always nice. Let's say you only have 2 cards in your hand. Guess what? Here's +2, right? You're going really +2 on a card that only costs 3 runes, 1 power. So it's a very good card. Let's go over to now the other new battlefield we have. This is Bandle Tree. It says you may hide an additional card here. Now clearly this is for Teemo. This is for like I mean, I don't really see this as a yellow player thing. I just see this as just a Teemo card. I will say right now, a lot of people, especially in the TTS Discord and the community Discord, they're really like not talking about Teemo and kind of acting like it's like a joke card or a joke deck. But I can tell you, I think Teemo is going to come out and be one of those rogue decks in meta. I think a good pilot of that deck with good hidden strategies and good hidden placements will be destructive with that deck. I think as we get more hiddens, Teemo will only become better. And I think it's going to get to a point where Teemo is as good as the how good the hidden cards are in the format. And currently right now we have some good hiddens, like some okay hiddens, like you can for sure run the deck, but we need to see some more hiddens before we see how Teemo's going to be. But I could totally see in a future format Teemo with this battlefield being able to destroy everyone. I mean, imagine two hidden, like a hidden like I guess not hidden blade, but like I like some of the like the shrooms, for instance, like let's say two shrooms on a point, like or a hidden Teemo, a hidden shroom. Like this is a great card for Teemo. It blends in also with its lore and like the character from League, so it's just a really fun card. I'm looking forward to see what format these like Teemo will pop off in, because I don't know if it's gonna be this format or not. We'll see as the cards come out. Now let's go to the final 4 cards. We have 3 units and a spell card here. So first off, let's get the major one out of the way, and that is Vayne. She's a red card, which I'm surprised about. They chose this skin. I don't think this is their normal design, right? This is a this is one of the Sentinel skins, right? With the glasses, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I think it's the Sentinel skin. But she is a 4 rune for 1 red power for 2 might, which might not be that good on paper, right? Just the same thing with Darius, but when we get down here to her abilities, I think she's just really good. I can already tell you, I'm adding her to my Jinx deck instantly, because one of my biggest issues with the Jinx deck right now is that Jinx is a great card, she's a great assaulter, but once you have her out there, she's just a 4 unit that's probably going to die very quickly unless you can move her back somehow. And I think Vayne solves that issue for the red decks, especially for a Jinx deck. If you can clearly tell, her ability is that she has assault 3, which just means she gets +3 when she's attacking. So she's actually a 5 might unit for 4 and 1 power, which is a pretty good balance. I think for that amount, I think that's good balance, 5 for 5. I think that will always be a good trade-off, but her ability is really unique. She has 2 abilities technically. The first one is, if an opponent controls a battlefield, I enter ready, which is already quite crazy, right? That means the moment you get her in her hand, if they control battlefield, she comes in ready, and she's a 5 might unit instantly. You can take a battlefield with her. And then it says, when I conquer, you may pay 1 rune to return me to my owner's hand, which is just really scary good for Jinx and other decks that just need to get away, like get complicated cards out the way. Maybe with like Super Mega Death Rocket, you swing, get over something, you destroy a battlefield, you put it back into your hand, and then do it next turn. Because like I said, sometimes in my Jinx decks I do run Seal of Fury or Seal of Rage. So like I said, I don't really worry about the power cost being 1, and then 4 really you're paying 4 runes for a 5 might card that can put itself back into your hand and enter ready without any other obligation besides that your opponent has to control a battlefield. If you play a lot of Jinx and a lot of red, a lot of your beginner units and like early round units are very low hitters, like 2 or 3s, maybe sometimes 4, with like Noxus Hopeful, for instance. But this is just clearly a great card all around for red. I could totally see this being in Jinx, maybe in certain variations of Darius, and there's a lot of red decks right now, so I'm curious to see where this card's gonna end up being at, because right now I'm assuming Jinx, and I could totally see myself running this very soon at TTS, because this actually is, like I said, one of my major issues with the Jinx deck, even though I do like it. Now the next up is another unit. This is not a champion unit, it's a normal unit, but it's a 4 rune for 1 power, 5 might. It says other friendly units here have assault, which is just +1 while they're attackers. I don't see this as being too good. I don't see this as being like amazing anyway. I think this is a okay card, and maybe if we get more Noxus support, like maybe in the future, maybe even in the set, we can get a card that says like all Noxus has +1, or like all Noxus with assault has like a different effect or anything like that. But for right now, I could see some awesome Darius players running this because you play a lot of the Noxus units in Darius because obvious reasons. But just +1 is kind of rough because he doesn't give the +1 to himself. And like I said, it's a 5 for 5, 5 rune or 4 runes and 1 power for 5 might, which is not always a bad thing. But I don't like that he doesn't give it to himself. I wish that he gave it to himself. I think that would make him a good unit at that point. Because he could still be beefy to defend, and then when he's attacking, he's a 6, and then he makes his friendly units also more. But for right now, I don't think this is too crazy. I think it's okay. Maybe you could try to run this with the yellow Darius, and then like buff Darius, the yellow Darius buffs everyone +1, and this guy gives everyone +1. I could see a world where that could be overwhelming, but like that's only for a turn, or maybe 2 turns depending on how fast they can get rid of your Darius in this guy. But I could see some value out of that, but who knows right now. I don't think we have enough to really like pivot and focus on yellow Darius right now. But who knows what the future holds. I'm curious to see where this card goes, but it's one of my least hyped ones so far. I think it's just a normal Noxus soldier. Don't care that much for it. Next up is a weird one, but I think Lee Sin players and set players will be happy with this. It's a 6 rune for 6 might, which is already good trade-off. No power, which is really nice to see in a big unit. It's just straight up just, especially for orange unit, which is known for having 2 or 3 power costs. So the 6 rune for 6 might, and it says when I'm buffed, I have ganking, so they can move between battlefields. I don't really know what else to say about this card besides it's cheap technically. I mean, it is a 6 for 6, but it's cheap on the terms of no power. If you're playing Lee Sin, you're playing set, you're always gonna be buffing cards, especially with Bar. I think with Bar, I mean, having a 6 for 6 rune for 7 might that has ganking, I mean, what else can you say? Good card. I think this is a good card, not an amazing card, but this is gonna be a good card in a lot of decks that use buffs. I could see Set for sure abusing this. I think Set will love this, especially with the fact that if you don't know, Set's legend ability is that you can take a buff of if a character in play has a buff, you can take the buff off and pay a power to retreat them. I think this card would be really good for for Set. Lee Sin a little bit, but I think Set is the better buffer deck right now as of like currently. We don't know how it's going to be at the end, but for right now, it's for sure the better buffing deck. So we'll see how it works out in Set. And then the final card is another, it's another buff card. This is a yellow buff, and this is a 3 rune called Call to Glory, normal spell speed with reaction. So that's good. I mean, reaction speed on this card is good. It says, as you play this, you may spend a buff as an additional cost. If you do, ignore the spell's cost. Oh. Huh. I was reading some of these cards before I started filming, just so I had in mind some of the words on this, or like some of like what they do. But this card is kind of insane, no? Like, as you play this card, you may spend a buff as an additional cost. If you do, ignore the spell's cost. So it's a 0 rune. Is a 0. That's insane. It's a 0 rune card that has reaction timing. It gives +3 to a unit. I mean, clearly this is for Set, right? I mean, come on. I mean, this is kind of insane. I mean, you could run 3 of this, and it would cost you no runes technically. As long as you spin a buff, which is not that hard to do in these decks now, especially with Bar, you can legit just have 3 copies of a card that costs really 0 mana, but for +3. And you might be like, oh, but it's like, like, does it help that much? Like, +3 is good. I mean, in the red deck we have the Noxus Axe. I forget what it's called, but it's like the Noxus Axe for 1 mana that does this, or it makes sure character or unit have Assault 3, which, as we've talked about, gives you +3 while attacking. So this is a very scary card, and I'm very curious to see how. I'm gonna be honest with you. After this, I'm gonna wait for a TTS update, but I'm gonna make a Set deck. I'm gonna try it out with my friends. I was gonna do a Yasuo deck, but that will come later, because right now I think Set is getting a lot of cards, and I think he might be top 3 in the format currently. Like prediction wise, he might be a really good deck, and I think he has a very cool card. He looks cool. I think his art's very nice on his signature spell. I think right now he has a lot going for him, but I wonder what you guys think. Do you guys like these cards? Do you guys care much for them? Do they help your deck at all? Can you think of any strategies that I didn't? I think so far the card reveals have been wonderful. They've been getting me hyped up every day. I've been showing them to my friends, and my mom does play with me as well, so I've been showing her the card reveals. And really, I think this has been the perfect type of way to reveal the first set. I'm glad they're doing it like this because it does bring up hype. I love going to the Riftbound community on Discord and seeing their reactions to it and seeing how excited they are for it and how hyped they are for it. It's just been a lot of fun. But as always, like, comment and subscribe if you do like the content. If you don't, or if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll make sure to answer it. But as always, peace out. Have a wonderful day. I hope you stay steady.